would be good to read when job seeking and kind of to propel their career and like be, yeah, just get ahead, right? And I found some books that I want to share with you. But I do want to say before I share these books with you that for me, a lot of it would be about mindset. Of course, you need to know your craft, and um, whenever something new comes out, like follow the news, follow the industry, all of that. But in general, reading books also on mindset is super, super helpful because a lot of work, a lot of jobs is also about navigating the workplace and all of that. Um, so one of the books that I read quite a few years ago now, but you can see that there's a lot of stickers in here, notes in here, is Fail Fast, Fail Often. And the title kind of says it all, right? The undertitle is How Losing Can Help You Win. And I think that's great, actually. And I think just wrote a post about this, or is it my newsletter coming out tomorrow, actually, about um, that I don't really see myself as failing because I learn. And it's kind of the point in this that, as far as I remember, again, a few years since I read it, but that's kind of what I took from it, at least into today, is that whenever you fail at something, you learn, right? And there's this thing that if you see entrepreneurs that I think I heard the other day that I think it's on average, and a successful entrepreneur has like 17 failed businesses behind them. And the idea with this book is that, well, if you get all of the failures out of the way quite fast, then you'll get to the success quicker. And there's also this thing about that because you learn when you fail, instead of trying to make everything perfect and saying, oh, now I got 2 months to create the perfect picture and then just work on one picture versus working on a lot of different pictures, then there's going to be one of them or two of them coming out really good. I hope that made sense. That's like a whole story that's done at a university with, sometimes it's with pictures, sometimes it's with pottery. There are different versions of it. But the point being that give it a try. Like go in and look at what is it that you really want to get good at and then start doing it so that you can fail and learn. So fail fast, fail often. I'll put when I'm done with this, and might be tomorrow because it's quite late here now, but I will put links for all of the books that I'm going to show you in the comment section as well. And if you have any books that you would like to recommend someone else, then write them in the comments as well. Another book that I read, and this I actually read based on the TED Talk, and I really recommend the TED Talk, even though I think scientifically this has actually been disproven, but nonetheless, it helps me still. So this is good, right? So this is Presence by Amy Cuddy, and she has a TED Talk. So one of the most viewed TED Talks of all time. And I very much encourage you to Google Amy Cuddy and TED Talk, and you'll get this TED Talk about how power poses can help you. So when you are, and it's kind of this like fake it till you make it attitude, right? And the idea here is that if you do a power pose before you go into an interview, for example, you're going to go in there and you're going to be more assertive and believe more in yourself. So I really like, it's a good read. Again, been a few years since I read it, to be honest, but it had a lot of influence when I did. And but if you're not too, it's a okay, it's like, I don't know, 300 pages, a bit more. Start with the TED Talk. It's really interesting. Then I have The Psychology of Money, and this is not necessarily for job search. It's just more of a good idea because the thing is that, and actually I listened to this. I have it in a book form, but I also have it as an audiobook, and you can see it's like brand new. It's like but I listened to it, and I need to go re-listen, to be honest, because it's it's all about the psychology of money, basically how money is psychology, and how all of the things that you do are more psychology, right? So um James Clear writes here, everyone should get a copy. Daniel H. Pink writes, few people write about finance with the graceful clarity of Morgan Housel. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly. So yeah, very, I've also heard so many people mention this in podcasts and talking about this. So definitely something to kind of get you started also on your money journey. And I think when we're talking about like what books should I read to get ahead in my career, the underlying question is kind of what books should I read to get ahead in life, right? What books should I read to get a great career, get a great income, get a life I love? So learning about money, I think is a very, very good idea. So also that one. Then Tiago Forte, he has a few books, and I don't remember what the other one is called, Terra or something, but Building a Second Brain. This is all about building a system for note taking. So instead of having everything in our head or everything in a million different places, then building a very specific system for taking notes. And again, I think this is really good if you're the kind of person who can stick to one note-taking program or one kind of system. I love creating the systems. So for me, that's hard, but I actually really like the idea. And then the second book he wrote was kind of more of going in depth with how to build out um, that technique and that kind of framework for yourself as well. Definitely. Then, actually, one of the very first books I read on psychology, if you, I, way back, I watched a video podcast, listened to a podcast called Dignation, and this is where I heard about Dan Ariely. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he wrote this book, Predictably Irrational. Yeah. And the idea is that we as humans are not predictable, that it's, or we are, but we're really irrational about it, or like, it's really interesting to, it's again, it's a psychology thing, and it's about learning about human behavior, and this is a very good start. Another book actually that I don't think I have it, but in the same kind of style as this is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, he won a Nobel Prize for part of that. That's also very recommendable. That's about how your brain, learning about how your brain works. Like you have system one and system two. So one is how you really, really like to preserve your energy, meaning that you'll go with and I don't remember which one is which, sorry, but you go with all of the things you can kind of make a habit of, you'll put that in one system. And then there's the other system that needs more time and you need to kind of spend more energy on that. And the brain will try to always take the most energy preserving route. And it's really, really interesting. So also I studied marketing and branding and stuff like that. That's also of course why this is interesting to me, but I really also just think that navigating and understanding yourself and other people, that some of these books are really, really good for that. um and now I'm gonna go real quick, 2 seconds, open the door so my cat can get out, and I'll just keep talking because yeah, I can do that because I'm bringing my microphone with me. So there we go. Cat out the door. Yeah. Okay. So the next book that also kind of I'm a bit divided about, but it's really well written, and I love the way that it brings in it's very good storytelling. I think that's how I want to say it. It's one of those books that I have both on audiobook and in print because I tend to buy books. I like that. And it's the 5 a.m. Club. And I know there's going to be some people who freaking hate me for this. I don't know. That might be a bit harsh, but like, oh, why? But there's this, the framework is, shh, sorry, the dog. The framework is about getting up at 5 and then spending like 20 minutes, again, been a while, but as far as I remember, like 20 minutes exercising, 20 minutes journaling, and 20 minutes meditating to kind of get a really, really good start of the day. And what I took from this book is, of course, that these things are important. What I took from it was to start getting up at 5 a.m. And what I also took from that was I did that for quite a while, actually. I've become fully self-employed, it's not been quite as, I still get up between 5 and 6 most days. But the point being that it gives this morning where there's quiet. That's like when I walk our dog in the morning, there's not as many people, there's not as much traffic, all of that. And if I need to go into the city for meetings during the day or in the morning, I'll probably leave somewhere between 6 and 7, which is amazing because we bike a lot in Copenhagen, or I'll bike in and I'll take the metro, and then it's like there's not as many cars, there's not as many people on the roads, there's not as many people in the metro. So it's just getting up that hour earlier really, really does a lot for my mental health, basically. So, and for nothing else, then it's really good storytelling. It's very well written, I think. And then the last, I think I probably have some other books that I have on audiobook. One book that people keep recommending and that I've started on it a lot of times. I never got through it, to be honest. And I know I have to, so I've kind of started up again, is what's it called? Napoleon Hill. It's about influencing people, and my phone is there, so I can't bring up. I'll put it in the comments. Remind me, like, let me know if you know what it is I'm talking about. Influencing, how to, I don't remember. But the last 2 books I want to share with you are 2 books that are only in Danish. And I'm sorry about that, but they're so good that I really do recommend them, even though they're only in Danish. So if you are learning Danish, then grab these 2 books. Before I recommend them, remember to jump over to my website. And if you are investing in your job search in Denmark, book me for a discovery call. Let's see if I can help you. Maybe you'll fit into my network or one of my programs. I would love to help you find your next job in Denmark. And speaking about that, and again, you'll really see when I have like a lot of notes. This is one of those that's like, oh my freaking god. This is Hit med jobbet, which is basically say, hey, give me the job. This is written by Sten Kramer Rasmussen, and he does a really, really good job at talking about how, like, the practical advice on writing a CV and a cover letter. There's a lot of other amazing advice in here as well. And this is really also the book that's a lot of the foundation for what I teach as well. It's a book that I interviewed him for my podcast when I had my Danish podcast back in the day. And this book is just a game changer for how to apply for jobs in Denmark. It gives so much good advice. So again, I really, really recommend this, even though it's only in Danish. I don't know if you can get it as an ebook and get it translated. I don't think it's out as an audiobook, but I also know that reading Danish is easier than speaking Danish. So this might be, and basically it's like this, right? So it's not like a heavy book to read. So I definitely recommend this if you're looking for jobs in Denmark. And this is I think this is the first edition. I think he has like third edition out by now or something like that. So definitely this one. And then he followed that up. So still Steen, he wrote Get the Job at the Interview, basically, loosely translated, right? Also, lots of notes here. So in this book, so the first book is about the material. So this is basically first step, what do you do to get invited to the interview? And then this is how you actually get the job when you're at the interview. Again, it's only in Danish, but it's very easily read and it's like really good. Steen is a very good writer, and it's just super detailed. So it's something where it's like, hey, you can actually really use this. A lot of the time when people give advice about job search and stuff like that, it's a bit superficial, but Steen, he is amazing at really going into detail and giving that very specific advice on how to write and how to put together stuff so it just makes sense. So those are for right now my book recommendations. I would love to hear in the comments if you have any book recommendations that have helped you mindset wise and job search wise. That would be amazing. I will find the links for these books and share them with you in the comments tomorrow maybe. But have an amazing evening, and remember, I'm gonna go live again tomorrow. See you.